Buddy Martin, Tom James, Tom Smith, and we continue on with our story. One of the things we want to try to do is tell our story and tell everybody else's story. And the three of us have a little story to tell about Southern Pigskin Radio Network. And I'll let you start it, Tom Smith, because it all just kind of happened and grew out of an idea.
It was an idea about having a football show that was 5 days a week. And it was going to be local, it was going to be regional, it was going to be high school oriented. And the main thing, the funniest thing about the story is, you know, in that scene in one of your favorite TV shows, The West Wing, where vote for Bartlett or elect Bartlett was on a napkin? Well, that's kind of how this happened. The three of us sitting at the mall, at the Paddock Mall in Ocala, Florida, jotted down some ideas. Food court. Out of that idea, Tom James, came the Southern Pigskin Radio Network.
First of all, there wasn't any Southern Pigskin Network at all, but then
we put together all kinds of names, all kinds of ideas for what would make up this show. It was awesome. I mean, so there's a lot of ideas that are still on the cutting room floor that you've never heard about because they probably weren't good enough. But a lot of the things that you hear on the show now came right out of that meeting.
And, buddy, why don't you tell everybody about a big moment when you had a epiphany, I guess is what it was, to reach out to old friends, and an old friend became part of the show.
Well, and two people, and we didn't know about Southern Pigskin. Our friend Charlie up at ESPN Coastal Georgia, we were just going to do a local football show, right? That was our idea. So Charlie was kind enough to let us do our show for his 5 stations in Georgia, Savannah, Hilton Head, Waycross, etc., Brunswick. And then I said one day to my friend Terry Bradshaw, I'm doing a radio show.
Wait, the Terry Bradshaw?
Well, just Terry Bradshaw.
That guy.
That guy.
But the cool part about it was my birthday and the phone rang, and Terry, and we talked, he says, I want to be on your radio show. I said, sure you do.
Yeah.
Just like me, come on. He said, no, I want to be on your radio show. Yeah. Sure. Okay, Terry, fine. Next time I talked to him, when's that radio show starting? I said, yeah, start pretty soon, Terry. And I'm thinking, he's never going to want to do this.
He was bringing it up.
Yeah.
You were bringing it up. He was bringing it up.
And he knew when I could pay him, $0. So this thing kept up, a comedy of errors, so I finally figured out the guy's serious. Yeah. So out of this idea, on a napkin in the food court, 3 dumb guys who said, let's do a football show, grew Southern Pigskin Tonight, which of course is the staple of our network now we have other stations involved in now.
Lots of other stations.
And we do football every week. And of course, Terry's on there about 4 to 5 weeks. Terry's on there, and it's just a great joy.
Well, if he's not on Rodeo Drive shopping or in Asia with his friends Henry Winkler and George Foreman and Bill Shatner, he's on our radio show.
It could be in Hawaii too.
Well, there's that too.
Well, if the volcano's acting up, we may not reach him either.
So Terry's a big part of this. We appreciate him being a part. And by the way, our friend Hunter Turner, who was there from day one when we started out at other station, of course, was helpful in doing all this as well. So that's how we got to this point, us 3 guys. And one day it was time for us to go back to our home where we started. Tom, you and I started 5.5 years ago, back to WMOP and WGGG and some other stations. Here's the cool thing about it. We debut our website, which you're going to hear about, buddymarkmedia.com from Steve Crandall next. This week marks exactly 20 years ago that Florida Sports Talk was born the week before the FSU game. It's almost eerie, isn't it?
It really is. It really is eerie. And wait till you hear Steve Crandall talk about buddymarkmedia.com.
How that came about.
Yeah, because that's been an arduous process as well.
I think there's somebody bigger than us in this. What do you think?
A lot bigger than us.
Along with Tom Schmitz and Hunter Turner, known as the Huntman, Hunter Turner Thompson, Hunter Thompson Turner, and just all around.
Just go ahead.
Good
He's
guy.
the boss.
The boss man.
He's the boss man.
Yeah. So Hunter, Tom, and I have been in radio together for about 5 years. First of all, Tom and I did a show at WMOP for about 6 months. Tom came in one day and said, I want to do this. I want to be your guy. I said, okay, come to work tomorrow. He comes in the door next day, didn't know a thing. Didn't know what buttons to push. He knew nothing.
I just wanted a microphone.
Yeah, he thought he was going to be a radio star.
Yeah.
So he was running this board that day, and suddenly it went silent.
Well, the truth is, I couldn't get us on the air.
It went silent.
I couldn't get us on the air, and I didn't know why I couldn't get us on the air because, like Buddy said, I didn't know anything that I was doing. So I'm crawling around underneath the tables and everything. I'm trying my best. 15 minutes of rock and roll music are playing when it should be a sports show. Come to find out, wasn't the guy that didn't know anything's fault. It was the host of the show who had inadvertently with his feet unplugged the wire that got us on the air.
And by the way, thus began the era of it's never Tom's fault. That's just how it is.
Well, what's my fault?
And by the way, it's always about Tom, too. So there you go. That's how it started out. Miraculously, we survived. We went through that phase. The sight of a 500-pound rhinoceros crawling around on the floor, that still freaks me out when I think about it. But anyway, he got it done. We got back on the air. Tom began to develop his radio personality and his technology skills, and I must say, quite well.
That was a shot at my technology skills, wasn't it?
You don't have it, so it doesn't matter. So at the end of 6 months, it's time to move on from MOP. They were going a different direction. We went across town to another station, and we took on a 3-hour show, which was 1 hour of general talk, restaurants, schools, coffee with the mayor, ask the cops, etc., psychiatry, etc. We had 1 hour of sports every day, 5 o'clock. I went to speak at CF, and I talked to a group of students. I said, if you have any interest in being on the radio, here's my card. This guy took the card, and the day that we started the show, showed up at our station down there. And I'll remember that first day, that little cubicle there. Remember Hunter in there?
Hunter
and JJ.
Hunter, JJ LaSalva. JJ LaSalva, who's moved on to work at 1010XL now in Jacksonville. He's outgrown us. But Hunter and JJ trapped in a cubicle, answering phone calls. And Hunter, they weren't good phone calls, were they?
No, they were phone calls of trying to replace the show at the time, the Visible Ocala, with Sean Hannity. And so we couldn't get Sean Hannity back on the air, thankfully for us. And for me, it was an honor just to be able to do that. And then to join you guys on the air, it just kept spiraling. It kept going good from there. Well, kind of spiraling because I had to deal with Tom. But other than that,
sometimes downward spiraling.
Yeah, exactly. So it was fun. But I mean, these guys have changed my life tremendously, and I'm so fortunate to be with these two right here.
I'm glad he remembers that script I gave him. We got it just right. So, all right. So, got about less than a minute to go. I want to say this: in that time, these things just happen. I mean, there's obviously a bigger force in us, and during this time, skills were developed. Hunter began covering golf at the highest level.
He began eating food with a big wins on the golf tour.
In all seriousness, he began to get friends with the top golfers. He's interviewed Tiger Woods.
Yes.
Give me your list. Phil Mickelson.
Tiger Woods, Graham McDowell, Jordan Spieth, Jason Day, Rory McIlroy,
Justin Rose.
Other than that, nobody.
Other than that, I mean, pretty much everybody on the PGA Tour currently in the top 10. I know. And
thus, he began to develop what he has. We call rolling with Hunter.
Yes.
Which you'll hear more about in a little bit. It's on our program, on our new site, which we're going to talk about. So that took us through the first almost 6 years of what we're doing until the day we sat down at the table in the food court with Tom James and said, let's do a football show. Wow. And so, I mean, like that automation. He's a genius now about this. Tom Schmidt's behind the camera this time, talking to his phone. And this is phase 3 of what happened on our story here. And this brings us to today, which, by the way, is the anniversary. I said earlier in the video we're doing that 20 years ago this week, we started something called Florida Sports Talk at WMOP and WGGG. Myself and Gordon Smith, we bought those stations and flipped them to Sports Talk. And here we are 20 years later, and now we're doing something brand new with Steve Crandall, who we call the Guru. He's been working for the folks at Golden Ocala, Quick Turn, what have you, agency, and now he has come to us, or we come to him actually, to get some assistance on how to market the show. So Steve Crandall, what were you thinking that day we sat down?
I have no idea.
You must have been in a coma, is all I got to say.
Well, I think that after I met you and Tom, I think that the personalities were gelling. Things were really working. It really struck me. I felt like it was probably the right thing to get involved in. And I really wanted to see something work for you. I mean, I saw your previous presence on the web, that kind of thing. And the web is it's so much bigger than what you had there. And I just wanted to make sure that we could introduce you to something that could really carry this thing. It's great being on the radio. It's great to be on TV. Those are great things. But as we've seen with the evolution of the web, the social media aspect is just so much bigger, and your reach can be so much more. And I think that after everything I've seen with you and Tom, you guys deserve that. So I wanted to implement what I knew and bring some expertise to the table to help you do that.
I can't believe how fortunate we were to get together. And now for 1 year, we've been working, Steve and I mostly, on developing something called BuddyMartinMedia.com, which features all of our personalities from our other days of radio, not just sport. On this, you designed the logo, you designed the page, you keep telling me it's going to be great. And I think, well, how will people find it? And you say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I just want to take you back to one thing. I started 1 year ago on my journey, trying to figure out if they're not listening to the radio as much as they used to, not reading newspapers, they're not watching network television, where are they? I ran up to a guy in LA, and my daughter Lori told me about him. He explained to me the quote unquote hidden audience. They're out there, but you got to go find them. This guy knows where to find the hidden audience. Explain that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of folks that are fans of the type of content that you guys are really involved in, either from the sports or entertainment or health and fitness or any of those things, right? But there's only a small percentage that are actually still listening to the radio. And so that audience can be found out on Facebook now, but back then it was really heavily on YouTube. And I really thought that we could really tap into something if we just got out there. And usually they're more qualified too. They're like micro-influencers. These are a lot more qualified audience because they know exactly what they're interested in and they look for that. And the search engines are a big thing. So YouTube's the second largest search engine out there, right? So when they want to find the content they're looking for, that's where they go.
And final thing is that Steve started a website, Arnell Carriers, which went from 0 to 60,000 visits a day. So he says, I think we can get you some exposure. Here's the great thing about it. Radio still works if you have an ability to get to people in other ways. We'll be able to stream the Buddy Martin Show live on BuddyMartinMedia.com, and this will give us a web presence and ability to find those influencers and find those people in the hidden audience. And thanks to you, man.
Yeah,
it's going to be great. And today's the day we launch this exciting time right here.
Yeah.
Steve Crandall, Buddy Martin, stay tuned. We got a lot of things going on.